morning on this very snowy April day. So today's video is going to be a little different. I'm away for a couple weeks and I won't have access to my computer for editing. I won't be doing as much crafting, so I thought that the usual vlog project style videos aren't going to work very well. So I thought I would go through what my knitting plans are for the rest of the year, go through all the different projects I'm hoping to get, and show you the yarn that I have for those projects, accountable for what I'd like to get finished, and to show you kind of what's on my big docket for the year. The first couple of projects I have are just sock projects. I like to have those interspersed between bigger projects because they really are something that works up fairly fast but doesn't take too much thought through them. So the first ones, the simple ones that we can go through, I already talked about this briefly in my blog a couple weeks ago when I went to the yarn fling, but I'm going to make socks out of the yarn that I got from Lichen and Lace, and these are in Buttercup and Hollyhocks are the two yarn colors. I'm likely going to use the trusty toe-up sock pattern by, I have it written here, by Tanis Fiber Arts. That's the sock pattern that I use most often. I'm personally someone who really likes toe-up socks, and so that's likely what I'm going to use for these yarns. So that's one of the sock patterns that I'm hoping to get done. The other one uses this Panton Croy socks in the color Midnight Orchids. I might use, again, the trusty toe-up sock pattern. I might try something else. I personally really enjoy using this Panton Croy socks, and this is one of those self-striping ones, which is why I'll probably just use the trusty toe-up sock pattern because it'll help it self-stripe properly. But that's the other sock pattern that I'm hoping to get done. And then the last socks that I'm hoping to get done this year are a little bit of a bigger project. Every single year for probably close to 10 years, I've made my brother a pair of slipper socks for Christmas. And my brother has ginormous man feet, huge man feet, to the point where everybody else in my family who knits, every couple years, someone has decided that they'll make him a pair of socks. They make him a pair of socks for Christmas and they say they'll never do it again because he has such big feet. So 10 years ago, I said I'd make him a pair of socks. He loved them, and I've been making him a pair of socks for Christmas every year, and he adores them every year for Christmas. When I started making these socks, I didn't know how to knit very well, so I crocheted them, and I used, I believe it was the Loops and Threads Swirly Pie yarn. It's no longer available, and it also wasn't a sock yarn. But my brother didn't care that it wasn't a sock yarn, that it was just acrylic. It had no nylon in it. And so for the last couple of years, I've experimented with different yarns, and he always seems to be very happy with them. So this past year, I finished up his crochet socks that I usually make him, and I decided I wanted to, from here forward, make knit socks. Because crochet socks are just, I don't like the look of them as much, and they're not fun to make. It's very, very tedious to make crochet socks. So I've already finished them, which is great, finishing a Christmas present in March, but these are the giant man feet. So as you can see, they're huge. And I already know these fit because I tested one of them on him at Christmas time. So I know that they definitely fit with him, which is very good because now I've written down this pattern and I know what I need to do for knitting them for years to come. This is actually, it still is the trusty toe-up sock pattern. However, I'm not using sock yarn. I'm using a worsted weight yarn. And then I also used much higher gauge needles to get this look. So that's how I got these giant man socks. But I still have one whole ball left of this. And my brother recently had a baby in February, and so I thought it would be really cute to make booties to match his socks, and that's what they'll get as a father-son Christmas present, and also it would help me use up this yarn. So this is the Loose and Thread Facet Acrylics in number 12. It's just an acrylic yarn. It has no nylon in it. If these were real socks, not having nylon in it does make them less stretchy and they don't last as long. However, these are slipper socks that he wears around the house, so I'm not too concerned, and also I'm making booties for a baby. So I'm really not concerned. That's what I plan on using this yarn for. It definitely won't use this whole ball, but at least it'll use some, and I think it'll be a very sweet present. So that's my other sock pattern. I haven't picked out the baby sock pattern yet, but I'm sure there's a million of them online, so I'm not too concerned. So that's all of my sock patterns for the year. So now we can get into some other patterns. I'm just gonna briefly talk about the stuff that I had gotten at Yarn Fling a couple weeks ago because I already talked about those in that video. But this is the Soona Wool Dreamers in color Groen or green. And I haven't decided if I'm going to make the Summerwood Tee by Liv Alvin out of it or if I'm going to make the Iris tank top from Along with Anna. Both of them are paid patterns on Ravelry, but I haven't decided exactly which one I want to do. Both of them are lace patterns, which is a goal of mine. I'd like to do more lace knitting. I'd like to learn how to lace knit. So that's why I gravitated towards either of those two tops. I think the t-shirt pattern is very cute and looks slightly more simple maybe than the tank top pattern. Plus I'm already making a tank top. So I don't know if I want to knit tank tops, even though they're very different looking. But I'll make that decision when it comes. But this is what the plan is for that yarn. And then the other yarn that I got was this Botanical Fibers in Spring Leaf, which is, it's a sock yarn as well, but I'm going to be making the Grow Your Own Flower Garden, or Grow Your Flower Garden pattern by Midori High Rose. It's also a paid pattern on Ravelry. It's a shawl pattern, but I did see a project where someone shortened it and made it into like a little capelet, and I think that's what I plan on doing with this spring leaf colored yarn. It's just a little cape section. And then the final yarn that I got at that spring fling was this Lichen and Lace in a Wild remix, and this is an 80/20. It's also a sock yarn, but it's quite a large sock yarn, and it's very, very beautiful. And so my plan for this is to make a baby sweater or a baby cardigan, maybe also a bonnet. I'm not 100% sure. And I also haven't picked out this pattern, but again, there's a million of them on Ravelry. When it comes time to work on this, I will pick something out. But I'm very happy. I think it's beautiful. It's so beautiful, and it's so soft. I think it'll be a beautiful and comfy baby sweater. So that's the plans for those yarns, which leaves 2 more knitting plans that I'm hoping to get done this year. So the first one is using this Knitting for Olive yarn. I don't remember what it's called, and I've lost the label on it, but I got it a couple of years ago, and I only have this one single ball left. So I found a pattern on YouTube, I'll try and link it down below, of a baby balaclava where they hold it double with some merino. So this is the Knitting for Olive soft silk merino in artichoke purple. And then I don't remember what this is. I want to say maybe it was a silk. I have no idea. But this is also from Knitting from Olive from a couple of years ago. And I'm going to hold these double and make this kind of baby balaclava, because I believe this should be enough to make that. Failing that, I don't know, like a really fuzzy hat. I really don't know. I don't want to have to buy more of this yarn to make something more out of it. So we'll see if it's enough to make the baby balaclava or not. All that brings us to the final knitting project that I'd really like to finish this year. If we reverse back to August of last year, that's when my brother and his wife told me that they were expecting a baby, and I was very excited. And so at the time, I immediately started a baby sweater. And this baby sweater it's a vintage pattern from Sirdar, and it's the Snuggly Chatterbox DK 3962. And the pattern has a cardigan and also a pullover, and it has these little ducks on it. Let me see if I can show you. These little ducks on the bottom color work. And so I had purchased this yarn many, many years ago for a project that I was going to make for myself. And then when I bought it, I wasn't happy with it. I think I impulse bought it. And it's really, really shiny. It's a silk blend, so it's extremely shiny. And I just didn't want to make a whole sweater for myself that was shiny. I couldn't see myself wearing that. So instead, it's been sitting around, and I'm going to use it for this baby sweater, maybe a hat, I don't know. But it's from Woolen Wanderlust, which is a local dyer here in Nova Scotia. And this is the colorway COVID Blues. So you can tell how long ago I purchased this, that it's called COVID Blues. And then the yellow color is this really, really pretty golden color. However, I've lost the label for this years ago, so I don't remember what the colorway for this is, but it's also from Woolen Wanderlust, and it's the same 75% superwash merino, 25% mulberry silk yarn. So this is the yarn I'm going to use, and this is how far I got on the project. This is the back panel. However, I think I might rip it out and start over again, and the reason is that the color work down here is so tight. I didn't spread my floats well enough, and so it's just really tight, and if I were to block it to make it all fit, I've been unhappy with it since I did the color work really, but I kind of kept going because I was like, this is the back panel, nobody's gonna see it. But I think if I'm gonna put all this time and effort into making this sweater, I really want it to be a much nicer sweater. So I plan on frogging this and then restarting from the bottom when I get to this project, but that probably won't be anytime soon. Just because I'm currently working on a piece of clothing, and this would be a Christmas present for next year, and it does involve a lot of stockinette stitch, so I think I might hold off working on this until later in the year. I'm also maybe considering just using the chart for the ducks on this and finding a pattern that's like knit in the round or like self-drafting something, just because making panels and then sewing them together is not my forte. I don't love sewing things together like by hand. I might actually just use the chart at the bottom to make the ducks here instead of using the whole pattern for the pullover. That's a plan for that. So those are all my knitting plans for the rest of 2025. Obviously, if I get things done a lot quicker, that's great. I can pick up projects. However, I'm going to really limit myself because at this point, it's how many projects? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects. And there's about 8 months left in the year. So a project a month. Some of these wouldn't take a full month, like socks don't take a full month to knit, but I don't want to overextend myself and then not get stuff done. This is the most knitting yarn I've ever had, and I really don't want for it to explode into too big of a collection. So that's the plan. Those are all my knitting projects that I'm hoping to get done this year. And hopefully they'll be featured in a couple different YouTube videos.